All right, folks. Okay, so we have now we've looked at the rubric. Okay, we've planned our essay. Now it's time to write it. Okay, and I'm not actually going to write this essay in front of you guys. Okay, I'm actually just going to kind of give you guys the outline, which you have seen a million times. But just to reiterate, okay, what should we be doing with each paragraph? Okay, so the first thing is that we already have our plan. Okay, and I don't think I can. Okay, if I go back to my thing, it's gone. But we have our chicken foot already, and that chicken foot is like the outline. Okay, it's like the outline for your essay. Okay, so first thing, and again, I'm just going to be like showing you the outline. You are actually writing this paper. Okay, cannot emphasize this enough. I know one of you mofos is going to outline this paper. I don't know who it is yet. I probably have a guess. Okay, but this, I'm just showing you what each paragraph should be doing. Okay, so first paragraph, introduction. It's 2 jobs. All right, it has 2 jobs that is worth 2 out of your 7 points. Okay, 2 out of your 7 points. That's, I'm not a mathematician, but that's like, a third. Slightly less than a third of your points. I had to do that quick math in my head. All right, tell Mr. Don't laugh that I just did math on my A-push thing. Okay, all right, but it needs to be 2 things. All right, and the first thing is a contextualization. And I know that some of you guys struggle with this, but this is literally the easiest thing in the world. But what you're doing is, I can't spell. Leave me alone. All right. Contextualization is connecting the topic of the prompt to the wider historical context. All right. And the idea that we should have here is that you should start with the prompts. Okay. How did we get here? Okay. I don't know if I can't remember. I think it's Talking Heads. How did we get here? The days go by. All right. But you kind of answer that question. How did we get here? All right. And putting that in context. So we're talking about the progressive era. I already kind of suggested some ideas that you could talk about, but the progressive era, it grew out of the populist movement. Populist movement was a reaction to the Gilded Era, rise of big business, rise of corporations. Okay, the little guy kind of getting trampled by the bigger people, which is ultimately the rise of big business, the rise of corporations is kind of a direct effect of the end of the Civil War, which the 14th Amendment largely helped corporations. Okay, that's a whole other story. But it also Republicans that came out of the Civil War were very much pro-business, pro-facilitating business. All right, and progressive era is a reaction to that the growth of business. And the growth of the federal government kind of goes hand in hand with the growth of business. So big business corporations are having more power, more control. Okay, so therefore we need the federal government to have more power and control to kind of rein them in. Okay, making sure that people that things are fundamentally fair or equitable. Okay, so drawing it in. Okay, it should kind of say, how do we get to this time period? But it should be drawing outside of the time period to kind of give that context. Okay, so you might talk about might talk about end of the Civil War, capitalized, and how it led to the era or to the rise of big business. You might talk about how the populist movement was a reaction to big business and the consolidation of power by corporations and political bosses, and how the progressives grew out of a unification of the populists who focused on farming to with the concerns of the masses in urban centers. Okay, and I kind of did that for you, but you don't need to do this, but this is a way that you could do it. All right, and that's your contextualization statement. The other thing that you need in your introduction is your thesis. Okay, and again, all right, 2 things: address the prompt. There's 2 D's in address, and there's a T at the end of prompt. All right. So, and then this is your what, and then give your reasons why you believe what you stated and why you believe that. Okay, so again, and I can't flip browser, so it's annoying, but it's essentially the effectiveness or ineffectiveness of it. So it was kind of effective. It was somewhat effective. It wasn't effective. Why do you believe that? All right, reasons why you believe what you believe, and this is your why. Okay, so remember those are the two things you need. You need a what and a why, and these reasons are going to be basically the buckets or the subcategories that you came up with as you were reading the document. Okay, so that's what we're looking for this. Okay, now, and each one of these buckets, okay, each one of these buckets is going to be, I can't spell, that's okay. I teach history and literature. All right, each one of these subcategories will become a body paragraph. Okay, all right. So with each body paragraph, first thing we need to start with is a subthesis. Okay, right, and the subthesis should have the exact same things that your actual thesis should have. It should have, okay, so what is the subcategory? So let's just say this subcategory is social. I'm not saying that this is one that you have to do. I'm just saying that it is one that you could do. It's possible. It makes sense. It's social. Okay, so you should say, all right, what about social? Okay, so so this should tie back to the prompt. It should tie, this is actually what it should do. It should tie the category back to the prompt. All right, and then again, this is your what. All right, and then it should say how it supports your overall argument in the thesis. Okay, and this is your why. Same as above. Okay, you need to have a what and a why for each of these. Okay, all right, so that's your, I'm going to do this differently. I'm going to do that. Remember burp, and I'm going to go burp, and I'm going to go burp, and then I'm going to put this here. All right, and again, guys, this is just an outline. You guys do it however you want. Okay, you guys are all big boys and girls. You guys can figure it out. Okay, but after this, okay, there's different ways you can do it, but here's the basic components of what you need in each one of these body paragraphs. Okay, you need to have your outside piece of evidence. All right, and that's a good, your second sentence is a good place for it because that's almost like a mini contextualization statement. Okay, so when you're talking about that social element, what's something that you know about society at that time that relates back, okay, to this broad topic? Okay, so that's a good thing for it. Okay, you need to give me, okay, and you need to give me at least one document. Okay, if you have 3 body paragraphs, you should have describe 1 and soap 1 per body paragraph. Okay, so you should have a document, all right, and you should soap/describe at least 1 per body paragraph. If you're doing 3 body paragraphs, if you're only doing 2, that means you have to double up in one of your paragraphs. All right, and then I would use one other document as just a reference. All right, and so like for example, if you, and I'm going to go back to that Teddy Roosevelt cartoon, that very first one. All right, you might just say, okay, you could say, for example, Republican supporters of President Roosevelt drew a distinction between bad and good companies. All right. Now, in here, I didn't actually describe the cartoon. I didn't talk about the teddy bears. I didn't talk about the hunter. That's all I did. And then all you're going to do is in parentheses, you're going to put doc A. Okay. All right. Remember, that's how we cite here. Okay. Don't say in document A. Okay. But notice again, this is just a reference one. Okay. So I'm not actually going into depth. I'm not soaping it. I'm not describing it. I'm just using the information from it, okay, to support what I say here. This would probably be closer to an economic one. I'm going to change that to economic just because I can. All right. Because that's what that relates to. Okay. So that's what you should be doing there. Okay. So this is going to be 1 or 2 paragraphs. So one document you should soap and describe. Okay, you should use another document as a reference. And again, that's if you're using 3 body paragraphs. If you're using less, then you need to double up on 1. Okay, remember, you need 6 documents total. And then ultimately, this is just a good way you should finish any paragraph. Is you should say, tell me, tie it back to your thesis. Okay, so say how it is. How does all the information that you just laid out for me relate, or I should not relate, because that's support your argument. Okay. All right, and you're going to repeat this. You're going to repeat this step for all of your body paragraphs. Go ahead. It does do your standard 5-paragraph essay. That's fine. But I would say that your paragraph, it should be anywhere between 4 to 7. That's probably where it is. Okay, so 4 to 7, and then feel free to use the spice charts. Okay, those categories are helpful. Okay, so you might have a social, all right, and you might have a political. All right, but you're going to repeat the same step for all of your body paragraphs. And remember, your conclusion is your dumpster of your essay. All right, and especially since this is going to be timed. Okay, and I want you guys really to hold yourself to that hour and 15 minutes. I know some of you guys are overachievers. Okay, but hold yourself to the hour and 15 minutes. Okay, this is your dumpster of it. This is where you are going to take your second swing at your thesis. All right. So what I want you to do here, please do not repeat your thesis, is that you should review your essay and write one sentence that your essay that sums up what you just argued. All right, and we all know this, guys. And I in my writing, a lot of times I need to write to figure out what I think, and then once I figure out what I think, it's not what I wrote. Okay, so you might have wrote a thesis, and then you start to write the body paragraphs, and you go back and you're reviewing it, and you're thinking, huh, that's not what I said in my thesis at all. And that's fine. Instead of going back and changing the thesis in the first paragraph, instead what you are going to do is you're going to write, what is your thesis now? Okay, so it's fine. You changed your idea. That's totally fine. And they understand that you're doing this in a time period, so in a time frame, in a constrained time frame. So instead of going back and changing this one, instead update your thesis, right? What you did argue throughout the course of that paper. Okay, so that's what you're going to do here. And then I would say here what you should be doing with the rest of this. So that's your first sentence, is second swing at your thesis. You're going to kind of say, what did you miss? All right, so what are some things that maybe you wish you could have put in there that you didn't? All right, and again, let me tell you this is not good writing, folks. All right, this is not how you write a conclusion paper. Please don't do this for your English class and say, well, Mr. Loyd said that I should do. No, okay, this is how you write a DBQ for the College Board. All right, so maybe you only use 5 documents. Okay, so use another document. Use another document. Use the one that you didn't use. Why not? Okay, it can't hurt you. Can't hurt you. So might as well just throw it in there. All right. But that's what we're looking for that conclusion paragraph. That's at least how I teach it. Okay. So this is what your actual paper should be. So again, quick reminder on a couple things, guys. You're spending 15 minutes reading the documents. I would only spend an hour writing this paper. Set up a stopwatch. All right. When you get to an hour, stop. All right. And especially if you get down to 55 minutes and you only have 5 minutes for a conclusion, that's fine. Okay, if you're going to miss one paragraph, your conclusion is the one to do it. So just go ahead and quickly sum up what you just wrote and just be done with it. Okay, but do not agonize over this for 3 hours. Do not turn into me this weighty tome that you spent all freaking your long weekend doing. You losers, get a life. All right, okay, hour and 15 minutes. That's it. All right, again, guys, if you have any questions, I'm doing PD Friday, which is tomorrow, which I don't know when you're going to be watching this. So email me before 3:30, and there's a good chance that I will see you.